All right, welcome everybody. I'm Lucian Fogoros, and welcome to this week's episode of CXO Insights. Our guest is Siemens Sales Manager for Americas, Dave Morley. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lucian. Much appreciated.
Yeah, so our topic for today is focused around digital twins technology and its impact on CSC machining, which is computer numerical control, from virtual simulation to real-time production insights. Now, Dave, you talk day in and day out with your customers. From your conversation with CNC manufacturers, what are the biggest challenges they face today? Maybe we'll start there.
Yeah, I appreciate that question, Lucian. I would say, based on the customer feedback from a CNC manufacturer perspective, um, they're seeing their end customers work more in a direction of automation. Um, I think you've heard in our industry, we have a challenge with the skill gap. And we're trying to do more with less globally. It's not just locally. So automation is playing a key role in solving some of those challenges for the end customer. And on the CNC manufacturing side of the business, these manufacturers are leveraging and investing more in automation and technology and software to help their end customers ultimately with the challenge that they have in the gap of skills and workforce that we have available.
Got it. Thank you. So I've heard skills gap and I've heard investment in automation. Why do these issues make it so difficult to stay competitive in the current market?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's. I think from the skills gap perspective, we need people in industry not to be afraid of our industry or newcomers who are looking at it, not to be afraid of it. It's not like it was 60 years ago where maybe there's coolant dripping from the ceiling, or the floor is very slippery, in a manufacturing plant. It's not like that at all. In fact, I was just last week at a customer in Brazil, who melts and makes steel and does machining on this steel. And it was one of the cleanest steel manufacturing facilities I've ever visited. Um, so, trying to maybe change the perception of our industry a little bit to bring more people in. Um, and also with this automation that's coming to market, this is some high tech, you know, software, hardware, etc., which requires a pretty high degree of engineering. And we're forever graduating engineers, at our universities, but they don't seem to be interested to come into the manufacturing environment so much, where they're desperately needed. So I really think if we can, try to plug the holes in that, Swiss cheese, so to speak, it would be really beneficial.
Now, Dave, you maybe go back way back when I was going through college, and for those folks in the audience that are considering this direction, I actually paid for my undergrad, or the company I work for is a tool shop
Uh-huh.
that paid for the undergrad, and it was a white floor. To your thing, every day there was somebody with an automatic tool. It was basically mapping the floor, but it was a white floor, and that helped sort of pay for my electrical and computer engineering, working in a tool shop and learning about the CNC, particularly in the aircraft industry, building the blades for, or the molds for the blades for the jet engine aircrafts. So I
Hmm.
appreciate you bringing back that memory. So I'm curious on the digitalization aspect, and how can digitalization turn these challenges into opportunities? Do you have any examples there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say, from the CNC manufacturer perspective,
Hmm.
we Siemens is a massive organization that has a lot of different products. there's a product that I represent called Create My Virtual Machine. So for the CNC manufacturers, they will use this tool to develop their next machine tool in a digital environment before they even touch any hardware. So they take the digital first approach at engineering. Um, and on the end customer side, we have a product for the runtime version of this called Run My Virtual Machine. So the end customer can use the digital twin that the CNC machine OEM has already developed and use it in their manufacturing environment. They can use it for training new employees, right? It's so much easier to crash the digital environment multiple times rather than the physical machine itself. It doesn't cost anything to crash the software. um, but for part program validation also. So, when your CAM programs posted out,
Mhm.
you can bring that into the runtime or run my virtual machine application and test. And if you're running the 3D simulation, you can look and verify, yeah, my clearances are there. I'm not going to collide the spindle into the fixture. Material removal looks good. Part geometry on the finish looks good because you can measure that kind of stuff. Um, there's a huge benefit to this digital twin software.
Appreciate the insights there, and you've taken one of my questions around how you support a manufacturing. So it sounds like the Create My Virtual Machine is another one, and Run My Virtual Machines that also helps with the skills gap, because you don't have to be tied to a machine. You can actually learn that not connected to the machine, and build up that skill set. Maybe talk a little bit about some real world examples on US CNC shop that perhaps successfully adopted the Siemens digital twin approach and achieved measurable results. And if you can comment on the results as well.
Yeah, yeah. So I do have a real world example. I'll try to be as precise but agnostic as I can because I don't want to reference any companies here. But we have an industry partner, and this partner is a bit unique. And not only do they resell my products as well as other products for the manufacturing industry, they are a aerospace certified manufacturer. So they
Mhm.
have their AS certification and can machine parts in their shop for aerospace companies. What they did was they took the digital twin first approach to bid on a project that was in another country around the globe. It was a large component for steam turbines, a big casting. It's going to require a big machine. So what they did was they spec'd out a machine from a machine tool company and asked if they had a digital twin model available of this machine, and they did.
Mhm.
So they got this digital twin, they fixtured it and tooled it. They programmed in their CAM system, posted it out to the digital twin, executed, checked everything, everything looked good. And they knew within seconds what this cycle time would look like. And this is a very big part, mind you, that takes two different operations to run. So knowing what tooling they're using, what fixturing, what machine, and cycle time, they're able to bid on this part to this customer around the globe accurately, right? Knowing their profit margins internally, et cetera, things like
Right.
that. But long story short, now that customer comes back to them and says, "Hey, we're going to go with you. We don't know how you were able to come in so low, but we're going to select you as the supplier. Please give us a peek on how you were able to accomplish this." So they presented this digital first to them. They showed, here's your part in my machine that I will buy with the tooling that I will need to make your part, and this is exactly what it's going to look like. they were beside themselves. They couldn't believe that they were able to accomplish such a task with having the right products in place, and some of the I would say industrial leading machine tool manufacturers out there with the digital twin technology.
Got it. Thanks. Now, uh, I was looking forward to, as I was preparing for this interview, I looked at one of your webinar, and you talk about how the digital twin enhances flexibility but also precision. So you've talked about the cycle time as one of the examples of how somebody or a company won a particular bid, but maybe talk about how that enhances precision as well.
Oh, it's really easy, right? On the aspect of precision, you're doing this in a digital environment. So if you mess up, you can fix it on the fly in real time.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, you're pretty good with tooling and you've already programmed the part, you've defined the strategy, but maybe you observe that instead of using, a solid carbide tool that's $1,000 to do this particular feature, maybe I can use something that's indexable, right? And an insertable tool instead to do this feature. And now I'm bringing my cost down, and it's still going to cut the part to dimension, make it precise, right? But you can do these adaptations on the fly, which is ultra high precision, right?
Got it. Thank you. Yeah, I remember the days when, we were building a mold. It was $250,000, right? And a day late, it was costing us a day $250,000. And when you look at a scrap part, sometimes you had hundreds of hour built, and then you had to press reset. There is a lot of cost there as well, just on that alone. Not to mention they can improve the cycle time, but also improve the other things that
Part
you
quality,
referenced, which is
right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
the precision. So looking ahead at trends like AI, sustainability, energy efficiency, how does that shape the future of CNC, and how is Siemens preparing for this future?
So, Lucian, unfortunately, you didn't make it to emo, right? Like we talked before starting the call, but Siemens has um, a considerable R&D budget that they invest in, right? And they invest in a lot of technology and development. And some of these investments are put into things that may not even be a product at all. But it's learning from the market, what direction do we need to go also, right? As well as creating products also from R&D. Um, but at the emo event, we had on showcase some of our artificial intelligence, or AI technology as well. So there's AI embedded in the CAM system. There's AI embedded in the CAM softwares that we have. Um, we have AI also available in some of like the PLC programming type applications. So we already have these things that we're working on, and we're working on commercializing. And we revealed some of these workings at emo this week, and looking forward to hear the customer feedback and where it takes our product going forward. Um, some of the other applications that we have in our portfolio here related to sustainability and energy efficiency. We have an application called adaptive control and monitoring. And this particular application, we install this software on our controller, and what it can do is it will read in near real time, in milliseconds, the torque that's being placed on the spindle of the machine tool, and adapt the feed rate to either run faster or slower. If we can run faster in certain areas of a part and reduce our cycle time, well, that saves our energy consumption at the end of the day, right? Thus leading to sustainability. Um, And then if we apply it in a different strategy where we're concerned about, our really expensive tooling and we want to get the most tool life that we can, we may want to slow down the machining process, which can, in theory, when you look at that sustainability supply chain, I don't have to buy more tooling, so the manufacturer doesn't have to make any more because I'm getting more life out of these tools, right? So those are some of the things that we have, I would say already on the market and being taken advantage of by our customers already.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. And those of you that are wondering what EMO may be, that's a premier machine tool show that happened in Germany. And you can follow the EMO 2025 to get the updates from the show and certainly the updates from Siemens. They were presented there in Germany. Now, I want to end with a question that's very dear to me, particularly that our company is based in Cleveland, Ohio, and half the U.S. manufacturing is within a half a day worth of drive. It's small to mid-sized companies
Yeah.
in that area. So for manufacturers who are overwhelmed by digitalization, what's your advice on how to start? Like, for instance, when I went back to one of the panel, or I should say, roundtables in Cleveland, and I asked the two tool shops why they went that direction, it was fear of missing out. What do you tell your customers about digitalization?
Yeah, there's certainly that FOMO effect, right? For the SMB industry. Um, Also on the flip side, I would say is the big companies or any company who supplies product to manufacturing industry, they have really good marketing departments to create or inject that FOMO for the SMB,
Right.
right? Um, you really have to, understand what technology is out there and see what can be applied for your use case only. The the biggest thing to start out, I would say, is start small. Number one, start small.
Mhm.
Find a partner that you trust and can rely on, that's relatively close to you in your geographic location, right? uh, and build a plan. What are you trying to do at the end of the day? Where do you want to be in 5 years or 10 years, right? You definitely don't want to be owned by your competition, so you're
All right.
going to invest wisely. Um, and you really, again, you need that trusted advisor. You're going to start small, tackle the low hanging fruit, and just incrementally step in that direction. um, Nobody ever takes everything at once. If they do, they failed. And if they tell you they didn't, they're lying to you. So, yeah, that would be my recommendation. Start small, do what makes sense. And you really need consensus from the entire organization
Mhm.
and the team, right? And then you need to have leadership also that believes in the vision and will drive it. Um,
Got it.
that's my opinion.
Thank you, Dave. And it's really good advice, particularly for this area where finding that partner that could guide them through so that they've done it. That's also super helpful because sometimes the owner may also be the CTO or may not have a
Yeah.
CTO, relies on that external partner. But so, yeah, absolutely. I could relate to that. So if you folks are in the audience have questions for Dave, feel free to leverage the hashtag you see on the screen, and then we'll get him back to answer them or somebody on his team. But hopefully, we'll host him during one of our upcoming panel discussions. So thank you, Dave, for your insights.
Absolutely, Lucian. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.